before. And again, I met Bet for the first time also, and that's all the information I have about this little horse. He is an Arabian, so he's a little bit more high-strung than other horses might be. I know he's a little bit nervous today with the different horses around. So we'll see what we can do with him. I thought I was going to have a wireless mic on, so I'm kind of glued here right now. We'll see what happens. First question is, what is clicker training? How many of you here have ever heard of clicker training? Okay, how many of you here use clicker training with your dogs or other animals or your horses? Okay. Basically, what clicker training is a portion of operant conditioning training. Operant conditioning meaning that the animal has control of the outcome of the exercise. Clicker training itself, the clicker marks a specific behavior. Okay, you may have a large behavior that you're trying to put things together, and you chunk it back down into small steps that the horse or the dog or the animal can handle, and you mark the specific behavior or even the try. Okay, the way I use, there's 4 phases to operant conditioning. There's positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, positive punishment, negative punishment. Since I believe very strongly that one should never punish a fear-based behavior, I don't use the punishment with horses at all. Horses are animals that flight or fight, and basically their number one instinct is to flee, to run when they feel threatened by anything. So even today with Troy, he's so handsome. What a handsome boy he is. That people, all these people, all these faces. So I'm not going to ask too much of him, but just to sort of explain. And I'll explain now, and then when I'm working with him, I won't be talking, so you can watch. So let me explain a little bit about what I think I'm going to do here. We're going to introduce the clicker to Troy, and we'll introduce him to positive reinforcement, meaning you add something to increase a specific behavior. Okay, you add something pleasurable. Negative reinforcement means to take away an aversive, such as pressure and release. Anybody who rides horses uses negative reinforcement. We put our leg on the horse, ask the horse to move forward. The horse starts to move forward, we release that pressure. That's negative reinforcement. We're removing something aversive to increase the likelihood of that behavior being repeated again. Okay? Punishment has to do with stopping a behavior. And with clicker training, basically we kind of ignore the things that we don't want, the behavior we don't want, and I'm not going to say it's bad behavior or good behavior, because horses are just horses. They're behaviors, and they have every right in the world to express their opinion and do what they want. So they don't have bad behavior. We may interpret it as such. So behaviors we don't want, we ignore them. We reward the behaviors we do want, and what happens is that the negative behaviors, shall we say, the behaviors we don't want, self-extinguish. So, because we all want to work for a paycheck, all of us are going to do something that makes us feel good, and we're going to keep on repeating that behavior that makes us feel good, and kind of forget the negativity, the negative behavior. So I'm going to introduce Troy to the clicker. Before I start, you'll notice I'm going to do what's called hind-end disengagement with him, and what I'm doing is basically setting myself up in the lead position to earn Troy's trust. Because with horses, the horse that moves the other horse's feet become higher in the hierarchy. Okay, when a horse has a leader that he can trust, that horse will go just about anywhere and do anything for his leader. He'll keep his eye on that leader all the time, no matter what. I'm not saying that I'll be able to earn Troy's trust in such a short time. I didn't realize that it has such a short time. But anyway, but we'll try. So what you'll see me doing is doing a hind-end disengagement. Virtually, it's asking the horse to do a turn on the forehand. You will, for a correct hind-end disengagement, you want the inside hind leg to cross over the outside, and the horse pivots around on the front end. You do that in both directions. And if you watch carefully, you can watch Troy's face, watch his eyes, and watch his demeanor. Hopefully, you'll see him settle a little bit and start blinking. A blinking horse is a thinking horse. One other thing to remember when working with horses, with clicker training or anything else, is that when a horse feels threatened, they have to move their feet. Inasmuch as you or I have to blink our eyes when something comes at us, a horse has to move his feet. It's hardwired into him. Back to the clicker training, just briefly again, you mark the behavior you want, and you give a reward. And people ask, well, doesn't that makes biters, okay? And no, it doesn't. And actually, I use clicker training to stop biting behavior because the horse learns he has to earn the treat. Okay, so then they're going to, if you have a horse that's well versed in clicker training, you're going to see him going through a whole routine of whatever tricks he's learned or whatever behaviors he's learned so he can earn that treat. I may or may not be able, and it depends on Troy today, may not be able to show you target training, which is great. Target training is when you ask a horse to target an object and you reward. You mark that behavior when his nose touches it. I have a couple little things over there, and I may pull them out and work with them. The target can then become the horse's safety zone. So if you have an easy target, and I actually like to use my fist or my hand like this, so if I have a horse that's way across the field somewhere, I can call the horse and put my hand out like this, and if he knows to come in the target, then that horse is going to come to me, and I don't have to go over 5 or 10 acres to go catch a horse. It's a great way to teach a horse to come to you. Can everybody still hear me? Okay, it sounded like I went off for a moment. Clicker training is an awesome way to increase a horse's attention span, his willingness to work with you, because everything becomes fun for the horse. So even, you know, the most complicated ground exercises up to the most complicated exercises under saddle can be learned using clicker training, positive and negative reinforcement. Again, negative reinforcement, most of us do use that because we'll use pressure and release. That's a natural horsemanship way of working with horses is pressure and release, and it's actually negative reinforcement. Let's see, Barbara, what else do I have on my list? Go through.
About using your voice?
Excuse me?
Can you use your voice?
Okay, 2 things. Yeah, you just reminded me of the other one. You always, once you start using the clicker for a behavior, do you always have to use it? The answer is no. Once the behavior is 100% with the horse, then it becomes what's called classical conditions, or classically conditioned. So the horse automatically responds. Just like Pavlovian dogs, they heard the bells and they started to salivate. Okay, the animal does the same. Once they learn the cue, then they automatically respond to that cue. Sometimes you may have to use a little bit of a reminder here and there, but no, you can't, obviously you can't take a clicker into a show ring, you're not going to take him into a dressage ring. You can use your voice instead, or a tongue clip. I use a clicker because I work with a lot of horses that have PTSD and they have phobia. The clicker, the sound of that clicker actually goes to the amygdala, okay, and it bypasses the neocortex, I believe it is, that's a slower response in the brain. Okay, so that sound of the clicker actually goes directly to the amygdala and will stop the insulin response and the flee response. So then the horse can stop and start to think. And that's something else that clicker training is good for, because it actually teaches the horse to start figuring out things. So they start to think things through instead of merely reacting. They learn how to think and act. Yes, I'll use my voice. I work with horses that I've worked with for a while. I'll use the word good. It's simply good. Okay, because I don't run around going, good, every horse that I see. Okay, so that's a particular word, it's sharp, it's short, and the horses learn what it means. Or I'll use a tongue clip. Your tongue you can take everywhere with it. Besides the fact that a lot of people, and myself included, you get tangled up if you have a drop in your hand, and you have your clicker, and you have this, and you have that, you get tangled up, you can't get to the clicker, you're clicking at the wrong time. You know, just to be a little bit crazy, so, or you lose the clicker. I lose mine all the time. So you need to, yes, you can use your voice. Is there anything else? I'm running through this real fast because I said I thought I had more time. I'll see if I can stay as close to the mic as possible, but I think when I go away, then I'll speak loudly. Hopefully most people will be able to hear me. I'm going to take Troy from Beth, and you'll see me introduce myself to him, say hi, do a few hind-end disengagements with him, see if I can get his attention, and then I'm going to start charging the clicker. That means just simply clicking the clicker and giving the treat. Clicking treat, clicking treat, clicking treat, until you see the horse will have like a light bulb go on in his brain, and he'll go, oh, I hear a clicker. That means I get a treat. And then you know that the horse understands what it is. Then you can move forward from there and teach targeting and teach you different exercises, okay, depending on the horse. as Ronnie had mentioned, you know, things go off schedule sometimes with horses because they don't read schedules, and they also don't automatically know our language. But this is a kind of a universal language that works with the horses. Of course, it's primarily enforcer and treating them with food. And it's just one little pellet of alfalfa pellets that I have, and that's what I do. Just one at a time. If you have questions afterwards, I will be here, but let's see what we can do with Troy.